Alola, dudes and dudettes! Welcome to the Dex, where every week we cover trivia and battle strategies for one of the many denizens of the Pokemon world. I'm Pokemon Professor Alex, and this fine fellow next to me is Yoshiller.
Hey guys, Kels and I made a bet to see who could go to New York first, and, well, she won. So she's in New York, but that means that I get to replace her on this week's episode of Pokemon, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's great to have you, but this week's actually not a Pokemon that we're talking about.
Are you bringing me, dude?
No, okay, it's just that today's a very special episode where we dive into a character that is a bit more human than our usual suspects. This week, it's Pokemon's most handsome professor, Kukui.
I thought Professor Sycamore was the handsome one.
Oh, he was the handsome one, but that was last gen. This is now Sycamore's very old news.
If you say so, but he'll always be my number one.
I ship it.
Weird.
It's
Kukui! Professor Kukui is Alola's beloved Pokemon professor, known for his research on Pokemon moves. As a child, Kukui completed his island trials with his best friend Mullane, and after that, he traveled to the Kanto region because he really wanted to be the Pokemon champion.
Yeah, he did well in his League Challenge, but finally fell to Dragon Master Lance in his Elite Four run. But your boy doesn't give up, and the loss motivated him to study the best and most powerful moves for his Pokemon. The dude is so into it that he lets his Pokemon practice moves on him. That's some serious dedication.
Kukui later went back to Alola and became a Pokemon professor, and somewhere along the line met Professor Burnett, the professor from Gen 5's Dream Radar 3DS app, you know, that one where you had to catch the Latierian form Thundurus, Landorus, and Tornadus. Anyway, so they fell in love and got married, and Kukui moonlighted as a mask-wearing fighter in Alola's Battle Royale scene.
Yeah, man, the Masked Royal is awesome. And it's also low-key hilarious that everyone pretends not to know who it is, but like, everyone knows about it and they're all just like winking at each other all the time. But anyway, Kukui dreams of putting Alola on the map and showing the other regions of the Pokemon world how skilled the trainers who live in Alola can be.
I mean, you can't really fault the guy for dedication. He single-handedly planned and coordinated a search for members of Alola's Elite Four while also helping supervise a child prodigy Pokemon trainer. That's you, by the way. And he did it all while the very universe itself was being threatened by Pokemon creatures from another dimension. Kukui gets it done, man.
Dude, why are Pokemon professors so rad?
Better question. Were they all named after plants, or are they given a plant name once they become a Pokemon professor?
Oh snap, that is a better question.
And it's probably one we'll never know the answer to. But we can talk about how Kukui lives up to his planty name.
Oh, we already have the perfect segment for it too. It's time for Plantaman Influences.
Better question. Do you think Chris Pine likes Pokemon?
Professors Oak, Elm, Birch, Rowan, Juniper, Sycamore, and Kukui have so much more than just names in common with all those plants. Guys, plants are symbolism machines, and the Kukui tree is no exception. We'll start with some of the Kukui plant's basics.
The Kukui is a flowering tree in the spurge family that bears an oily little seed called a candle nut. Because of their oil content, they were used for tons of stuff in the early Hawaiian culture. It was the I can do anything plant.
Kukui nuts could be roasted and eaten, or you could crush them and use the oil as a moisturizer for your skin. It was used to cure headaches, fevers, ulcers, and as a hair conditioner. The shells of the Kukui nuts were used to make tops for children to spin. It was so beloved that it is now the state tree of Hawaii. But its most important use is right in its name, the candle nut.
A single candle nut burns slowly, and they were commonly used as torches and candles to light the village. And it's the plant's association with light that gradually turned it into a symbol of education. The Kukui nut symbolizes enlightenment, knowledge, and learning. And leis made of Kukui nuts are often used for ceremonies, or events having to do with education, or to show great respect.
The Kukui tree is also said to be a manifestation of the god Lono, which we already covered extensively in the Tapu Bulu episode last week, so I assume you're up to speed. Lono is the god of peace and protection and the harvest, and the Kukui plant is said to be one of his many forms. This means that as an extension of Lono, Kukui plants are associated with the same protective qualities and peace-promoting vibes. And Kukui the professor lives that Lono life, not taking anything too seriously, but always showing strength and providing light to others.
And because the design of this game is super tight, let's not forget that all the characters in Sun or Moon generally align with Sun or Moon-like qualities. You guys already covered how Lily's character is closely associated with the moon, but now we know her freaking roommate is the shining sun candle Lightman, and I don't know, it's just really dang cool.
Huh, you're right. He is a shining sun candle light man.
Right?
But now that we got the easy, obvious, researchable stuff out of the way.
Oh, yes?
What? Doesn't the idea of an all-new theory about Professor Kukui sound exciting?
Well, I mean, it's not Times Square exciting, but I'm here, I'll take it.
Yeah, you know, I wonder where Kells is right now. I bet it's not that cool.
This is amazing!
Yeah, it probably sucks.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. So when we were looking into Professor Kukui's connection to the Kukui plant, we kept coming up with results mentioning something called El Kukui, spelled like it was Spanish or something. And at first, we kept coming up with this boxer, Tony Ferguson, who uses it as his nickname. At the time, we were like, wrestling, boxing, and we couldn't shake the feeling it might be connected.
Eventually, though, what we found out was that El Kukui is actually kind of like the Hispanic and Lusophone version of the Bogeyman. Basically, if you don't follow the rules, or go to sleep on time, or whatever, and the Kukui, or Coco, or Cuckoo, or whatever you want to call it, it will eat you right up.
At first, we didn't think too much about it, but then we realized, wait a minute. One of the popular representations of the Coco, as they call it in Portugal, is kind of like a jack-o'-lantern, and whether it's in an iron pan or a carved vegetable, or even a smiling pumpkin, is there any better metaphor for the Hawaiian Kukui than a head with a light inside it like a candle?
By then, we were like, maybe we're onto something here. But it didn't make sense as to why the story was so scary. Until we remembered that Professor Kukui's signature Pokemon is Rockruff. And if that isn't the Pokemon symbol for someone with two opposing sides, then I don't know what is.
But think about it, it's not that far-fetched. Midday and Midnight form Lycanroc, a cheerful professor and a fierce battler and wrestler, and two separate Kukuis that represent the literal light and darkness? I mean, we ain't no experts, but in a game as night and day as sun and moon, all the parallels practically draw themselves.
And like, at this point, we're not sure whether the message is about lore, or if it's about balance, or if it's even a real thing at all. But you know what I like to think? I like to think that Professor Kukui, if he was a real person, he'd just be glad someone was here making videos about science and culture and video games and continually asking all these weird, crazy questions. And you know it's us who's crazy, because, as with all the theories this segment has brought you, you heard it here first.
And with that, I'd say our episode about Professor Kukui is finally wrapping up. Thanks for subbing in, dude.
Yeah, dude, I had a great time. Would have had a better time in New York, though.
You're not wrong. Guys, head down to the description and buy one of these awesome Dex shirts so you can actually look good this summer at theyeti.com/thedex. And if you want to join our official Dex Discord and chat and trade and hang out or whatever, that link's in the description too. And take a sec to acknowledge our beautiful Patreon patrons too, because without them, I'd probably be in jail or something.
Yeah, and click up top for a random nugget of Pokemon joy from a library of over 200 Dex episodes. Or, if you want to see more of me, Yoshiller, click the bottom one.
And for goodness sakes, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Professor Alex.
And I'm Yoshiller. Tune in next week for another anti-Anakin Skywalker episode of The Dex.